Hey guys, Charles Float here and welcome to SEO 2020, our $1 million marketing methods micro courses. In this introduction segment of our course, I'm going to be running you through the course itself, as well as an introduction to SEO in 2020 as a whole, and some key things that you need to be looking out for. So my overall aim for this course is to give you guys an insight into the modern SEO techniques I've been using to pull off some high-level SEO campaigns that get fast results in incredibly competitive marketplaces, using a variety of different techniques, tactics, and strategies that allow you a more well-rounded SEO kit and SEO tool suite to advance your career even further. Now, depending on where you're at with your career, it very much so depends on where you want to start with this course. There's no official start to this course except this video. The other modules are all split into their own topics and they're their own unique topics. They do not interlink that well together at all. They're their own separate micro courses and they're meant to be for those specific industries because each part of the course module is its own sub-industry within the SEO industry. So without any further ado, I'd just like to get started by giving a quick thank you to all of you guys for purchasing this course. You guys have probably come through our Black Friday offer, but for those that didn't, thank you even more so for cashing out even more for this course. I really hope you get as much value and as much time and as much effort out of this as I've put into it, because this has literally cost me over $1 million and thousands of hours just in 2019 alone on SEO spend. So you can imagine how much information we've been able to get access to, how much data we've been able to access to, and how big our network has gotten now into the point that we have access to basically every niche, every industry, and all sorts of SEOs that are working in all sorts of different marketplaces with all sorts of different strategies. So I hope you enjoy this course. Thank you for purchasing. Let's hop straight into it. So let's start with a breakdown of the entire course. Each module one by one, starting with affiliate SEO for 2020. This course is predominantly by Eric Lantries and myself. It will cover in extent exactly the tactics and methods that we use to build affiliate sites, not only in terms of the on-page, but also the link building campaigns along with them. I've also included some documentation on new site link building. So if there's any people that are starting out with new affiliate sites going into 2020, then you'll have documentation on exactly how to build links to future-proof yourself from algorithm updates towards the future, as well as looking at ranking in 2020, which might be considerably more difficult than it has been in previous years. On to the next module, we've got advanced link building theory and tips. This is exactly what it says on the tin. This is not for the weak and faint-hearted, for those who are not techie and those who do not understand link building and scaling and that kind of stuff. These are some really quite advanced and high-level theories and tactics that you can use to advance your link building campaigns to that next level. On to the next module, Algopocalypse research and findings. Again, this is mostly by Eric, but this is he is the guy to go to when it comes to algo updates. He literally analyzes millions and millions and millions of keywords and websites every single time there's an algorithm update. So we have got some of the hottest off the press information for you guys about different algorithm updates that have affected us and affected our websites, as well as affected millions and millions of other websites and SERPs around us. Some of the information in there is really interesting, and if you've been hit either positively or negatively by an update, then you can find out why within that module of the course. On to the next module, foreign SEO domination. This is again exactly what it says in the tin. I'm going to be teaching you how to dominate foreign SERPs with not just one but multiple websites like I do it in my tactics, because they're so cheap and easy to build, as well as looking at the link building theory, the link building tactics that I use to basically manipulate Google's algorithms in the different foreign languages that we go into. The one point that I will make about foreign SEO is that German and Spanish are two languages that Google are looking into and are moving more into, and that you are more likely to get a penalty in those languages. And in fact, I would say you are much more likely to get a penalty in those languages than you are, for example, every other language that isn't English in the entire world that Google operates in. For example, Swedish, Finnish, Norwegian, Thai, Vietnamese, whatever it is, even Chinese. Google is getting back into China nowadays. On to the next module, Parasite SEO for 2020. This is the final module. Again, what it says in the tin, this is advanced Parasite SEO, something that isn't, it's not the days of building a WordPress blog and spamming it with GSA. This is some quite high level stuff, and it is quite difficult to pull off, and you will need a couple tools to be able to do it, but you can also scale these out using automated tools as well, so that you can start building a little Parasite empire, which really actually can start earning some serious amounts of cash flow with very minimal amounts of cash flow investment in the first place. So that's all of the core modules that are in this course. There is also a downloadable PDF area where you can download PDF SOPs to build high authority do follow and no follow backlinks that are totally free to get to your website, so that you can use VAs or even do it yourself if you have the time in the some spare time in the weekend to be able to build some free links yourself. Most of these are in the DA 80 plus range, DR 80 plus range. These are some really high value links, and you should be able to get some easy wins there for you guys to go forward. So that's the entirety of the course as a whole. I hope you enjoy every single lesson that is within each of these modules. I think in combined within the entire course, we've got about 5 hours of video and about 40 to 50,000 words of written content. So you've got a good while ahead of you to get through all of this stuff. And trust me, you're going to be wanting to go through this multiple times because there's so much in there and you're probably going to miss some bits and pieces. So let's go on to SEO going into 2020. So SEO going into 2020 is in a really interesting period of time. Google has been introducing a ton more updates recently, to the point where it seems like it's an update every other week or every week itself. And it can be quite confusing about what these updates are targeting. That being said, in this course, we are going to reveal exactly what Google has been targeting with these updates via using our correlative analysis on millions of SERPs. So we will be able to show you exactly what Google is targeting with these updates. And despite it seeming like a completely unstable and erratic trend, that's more so to do with the way Google has actually released these updates and what these updates are targeting, than it being an erratic way of how Google is targeting a specific tactic or a specific way of going about doing SEO. It's more of an overall SEO as a whole, and that's why I'm trying to say it's a much better scenario if you have an overall sound whole SEO strategy that is all interlinked and is all working as 100% in tandem with each other. Otherwise, you are looking at potentially risking one area, which can then cause other areas to fall as well. So going into 2020, things to watch out for. Number one is still links. It's still the number one ranking factor. Still the number one ranking factor by a long margin from our own testing. And you want to be looking at either authority or root relevance. By root relevance, I mean the root domain, so the domain itself being actually relevant. Or you want to go for higher root authority. You can't have neither of these. You have to have one or the other, or your links aren't going to be doing the trick. Next up, we have topical content authority. This is something that I think a lot of people don't do enough of. They don't try and create a topical bubble within their site. They don't try and create and build out the topics around their site. It's actually something that I think people should be doing more often, especially considering content is actually cheaper than links. You have to both pay for the content and the links when you're doing link building, unless you're doing niche edits. But generally speaking, building out a topical authority and building out internal linking and building out that kind of thing, that is a really, really beneficial tactic to be using nowadays. And it's something that is being more emphasized by the BERT update even more so. Onto trust signals. Again, this is something that I've been talking about for 6 or 7 years, and it seems to be the number one way to get past sandboxes, the number one way for fresh domains to rank, the number one way to get stuff into competitive and why and well SERPs. It's all about those trust signals. It's all about making sure that Google thinks you're a real business, a real person, a real website, and you're not a spammer, hacker, or an SEO trying to manipulate them. Content optimization, this is something that a lot of people get wrong. They think you can just stick your website into a content service like Pop or like Surfer and get your content optimization, bim, bam, bosh, done. No, I do not think that is a good idea whatsoever. I think you should be incorporating schema. I think you should be incorporating internal linking. I think you should be incorporating custom H1s, H2s, looking at the actual Google SERPs and seeing if there's any jump tos, things like that. There's all sorts of different things around content optimization. And then you've also got images and videos and stuff like that as well that come into play. If you're just doing content optimization based on what Surfer is telling you or based on what website is telling you and nothing else, you are doing it wrong. Unless you're doing local SEO, you are doing it wrong 110%. For an SEO, piece of piss, it's easy, it's super simple to get through. This is a whole course that's dedicated to exactly how to do this within this course that we could have honestly sold as its own course, considering I do this on scale quite easily. And then on to online reputation management. If you're looking for a high-level, high-paying industry that has got a lot of room for growth over the next few years, online reputation management is huge. And the biggest part of online reputation management is the first SERP of Google. Most people who are looking up a brand and looking up a business go to the first SERP of Google, look at their Google reviews, look at their reviews on Trustpilot, look at their social profiles, look at their knowledge graph if they have one. Online reputation management, being able to manipulate the knowledge graph, being able to manipulate reviews, being able to control the first SERP of Google for a client, that is worth tens of thousands of dollars. That is worth a huge amount of money. You can market that massively, and you should be looking at that as part of your business hugely. If it's not to do it yourself for your own business and your own online reputation management, then do it for customers, do it for clients, because it's worth so much money. You can charge a fortune for that kind of stuff. And finally, things to watch out for is voice search. I know this is something that people have been saying, oh, look out for voice search since 2012, whatever. But my opinion on voice search is more so to do with Google Home. 2018 was really the year that Google Home started really taking off. And that's the year that voice search started taking off. Now, in my opinion, voice search is dependent on the person who is searching behind it. If it's a younger person, you'll tend to notice that they will use a lot shorter words. They will use what they're Google searching on the computer as the words that they're using to speak into it, because they're so used to using Google. Whereas the older generation, they'll use the more long tail queries, they'll use the more actual spoken word kind of voice searches. So it all depends on your market, depending on how you're going to go about targeting voice search. So onto the tools that I use personally and the tools to use in 2020. Ahrefs is still the number one program. You can go with Moz Pro or SEMrush, but they're still behind. Unfortunately, Ahrefs has been going down a lot recently. They've been fucking with the credit system. They've been messing with a lot of stuff, and it's been pissing off the community quite a lot. But unfortunately, they still have the most amount of data, and they still have the best tool suite on the market. It is still better than SEMrush and Moz Pro by a long margin. Though that being said, Moz is actually making some leaps and bounds in their systems, and I do believe that their tools will catch up within the next couple, within 2020 actually, because I think that their tools are getting significantly better, and I think that their UI is actually easier to use than Ahrefs UI. And I'm not a Moz fanboy, by the way, so that is a good thing for Moz coming from me. Onto rank trackers, Certbook or SEO ranking are the tool rank trackers that I use. Certbook's new UI is beautiful. It's awesome. It looks really cool. They're adding new things. I do know that they're actually, and this is a secret, they're rebranding from Certbook to a really cool name with a full kind of SEO ranking style tool suite. So that'll be interesting coming into 2020. Surfer SEO, Pop, Website Auditor by SEO Power Tool Suite. They're all basically the same tool with some slight variations and some slight differences. Surfer and Pop are on the cloud, whereas Website Auditor is desktop based. Surfer and Pop I would prefer over Website Auditor if you're doing quick and easy and quick win based on-page SEO. If you're wanting to do more detailed stuff, Website Auditor is probably the better one because it's a desktop application and it allows you to review and save campaigns and do all that kind of stuff. But it's basically essentially the same one, and it can also allow you to analyze the TF-IDF exactly the same as Surfer does on a competitor analysis. So you can analyze the TF-IDF of the top 10 websites ranking. Deepcrawl, Sitebulb, and Screaming Frog are the main three tools that I use for my on-page audits. A lot of people use SEMrush and Ahrefs site audit tools. Cool, if you want to use them, go for it. But personally, I prefer Deepcrawl or Sitebulb. Screaming Frog is a very, very close third. But Deepcrawl is just very expensive, but it is the highest level on-page auditing tool on the planet. And it runs in the cloud, so you don't have to waste any time. Sitebulb, desktop-based, probably the best and easiest to use UI out of an on-page optimization tool. It gives you hints and tips to be able to improve your on-page. So if you're that beginner or intermediate level, go with Sitebulb every time. This is the number one tool you need to be picking up tomorrow because those hints will be amazing for your suite. And then your own brain. This is something that a lot of SEOs seem to forget, that they have a brain. You have something called SEO intuition, as I like to call it. SEO intuition is basically knowing what to do, knowing how to look at something, knowing how to fix something. It's just something that you'll notice over time as your career evolves, that you'll be able to just basically look at a website and say, okay, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. You have to look at a link profile and say, this link is bad, this link is good, this link is why it's dropped, this link's why it's gone up, etc., etc. It also just means that you'll likely be able to do competitive analysis and your own website's analysis much faster than being able to even use a tool, because you'll be able to just basically go through each page and be able to run it through and be able to use browser extensions and things to look at the on-page. So those are all the tools to use. Those are all the things to watch for in 2020. Thank you for purchasing this course once more. I hope you enjoy the rest of this course. I'm not going to keep you any longer. Go jump into it. I've been Charles Float. I'll see you throughout this course. Thanks. Peace.